If you're like me and find the existing GW flying bases pretty boring and uninspired, this video is for you. Let's get started. I started off by taking some aluminum foil, twisting these into small cones, and gluing them onto the 75mm oval base I was going to use. I knew that I was planning to attach my jet bike to one of these cones, so I made sure to make the highest one near the back of the base so that the model could attach to it. I also constantly checked the position of the model to ensure it was evenly balanced over the middle of the base and could attach easily to the spire I was building. Once I was happy with the position of the spires on the base, I bulked out the ground with a little more aluminum foil. Next, I mixed up a batch of ApoxieSculpt and covered the entire base with it. I use ApoxieSculpt here instead of other clays like green stuff, as ApoxieSculpt dries super hard and will make a great sturdy base. This step takes a little bit of time to cover the spires, as the aluminum foil is fairly flexible and I did not want to mess up my amateurs. After the base is completely covered with ApoxieSculpt, I take a wine cork and tore off a bunch of pieces. I then take one of these pieces and gently press it into the clay all over the base. This gives a really nice kind of rocky, broken up and natural looking texture. I apparently forgot to hit record on this, but I also took this time to put a paperclip into the spire. This paperclip will be the pin to attach the jet bike to the base later on. For the aluminum foil spires, it was actually kind of tricky to get a good imprint of the cork without bending the aluminum foil, and if I put my finger behind the spire for support, I'd end up flattening out the still uncured clay where my fingers were. To get around this problem, I sandwiched the spire between two pieces of cork in my fingers, so when I went to apply pressure on one side with the cork, the spire would press into the other one and the rocky texture would still be maintained on both sides. To add even more texture, I take all the cork I tore up before and apply it randomly all over the base by pressing it right into the ApoxieSculpt. My plan for this is to cover the base with snow texture and various other ground coverings, so the more nooks and crannies I have to store the snow and build up snowdrifts, the better the base will look at the end. Also, much like pressing the texture in before, there's really no right or wrong answer here, as nature is pretty random, so just do whatever looks good to you. After the ApoxieSculpt is dried, all that's left to do is attach the model to the base. For this model, I decided to pin it to the base in the existing location where the flight stand normally goes, as I felt that gave me the best looking kind of model on the base, as well as had enough material for me to pin to. You really can pin your jet bike anywhere though, as long as there's enough plastic to kind of dig into and hold the paperclip securely. So there you have it, a base for your windrunner jet bike that looks far more interesting than normal. So what do y'all think? Are you fine with the existing GW flying stands, or do you modify them to make them fit the base of your army? Let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to see any pictures of your converted flying bases on Instagram or wherever. Thanks for watching, and hobby on.